Unexpectedly, a single photograph turned speculation into certainty. On June 10, 2025, pop icon Billie Eilish and actor-musician Nat Wolff were caught in a passionate kiss on a quiet Los Angeles sidewalk, an intimate moment laid bare for the world to see. Until that instant, their rumored relationship was just another murmur in the never-ending swirl of celebrity gossip. But with one candid shot, the story transformed. Shared first by Perez Hilton, and then devoured by social media like wildfire, the image shattered the mystique Billie has spent years cultivating. Fans, journalists, and curious onlookers all leaned in, not just because it was Billie and Nat, but because it felt so human, so exposed, and so profoundly real. For an artist whose public persona has often been carefully constructed around privacy, loose silhouettes, and melancholy melodies, this sudden display of affection felt like a tectonic shift. Billie wasn't hiding, she wasn't being cryptic. She was kissing someone she cared about, in public, in daylight, with the whole world watching. And that, more than the act itself, sent ripples across the internet and into the headlines. Almost instantly, the reaction online was explosive. Billie's loyal fanbase, known for their fierce emotional attachment to the singer, unleashed a tidal wave of excitement, theories, edits, and timelines. Who is Nat to her? How long has this been happening? Is this love, lust, or a publicity distraction? Within hours, the photo had spawned trending hashtags and breakdown videos. The community wasn't just consuming a moment, they were trying to decode an entire relationship. Billie's music has long hinted at emotional weight and romantic ache, but this time, the story wasn't told through lyrics. It was captured in a single candid frame. For Nat Wolff, the moment was equally defining. Once a child actor, now a subtle fixture of indie cinema and alternative music, Nat hadn't occupied the tabloid spotlight in years. That changed overnight. Suddenly, he wasn't just Nat, he was Billie's Nat. What makes this moment so compelling isn't just who was kissing whom, it's what it represents. The collision of two private lives, one globally worshipped, the other quietly artistic, in a moment neither seemed prepared to explain. Fans remember how guarded Billie was in past relationships, how protective she became when old flames were dragged into the limelight. But now, something was different. Whether it was love, rebellion, or the simple truth of being 23 and unapologetically in the moment, Billie let the cameras see what she once fought to conceal. In doing so, she sparked a story that was no longer just hers to tell. Naturally, the photo didn't just ignite support. It also lit a fire under the skeptics, critics, and conspiracy theorists that orbit every high-profile celebrity relationship. Within hours of the kiss going viral, social media split into factions. Some fans rejoiced in the authenticity of the moment, while others accused Billie of selling out or staging the kiss for publicity. The sheer volume of scrutiny was overwhelming. Long threads on Reddit and X, formerly Twitter, dissected the timeline of their appearances, alleging contradictions and inconsistencies. Too perfect, some said. This feels PR, others argued. A portion of Billie's fanbase, fiercely protective and notoriously vocal, began revisiting every lyric she'd written over the past year, trying to decode which ones hinted at Nat. One TikTok creator with over 1.2 million followers posted a video suggesting the entire relationship was a soft launch campaign to distract from Billie's recent label negotiations, a theory that trended for 6 hours. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't about a young couple caught in a moment of intimacy. It was about power, privacy, and who controls the truth in an age of digital surveillance. Meanwhile, Nat Wolff, long used to flying under the radar, found himself at the center of an unexpected cultural storm. Old interviews were resurfaced, including a 2016 segment where he joked about being a hopeless romantic with bad timing. His past relationships, including rumored flings with co-stars, were pulled into the spotlight, analyzed against Billie's public image. "He's not on her level," read one popular tweet with 80,000 likes. Paparazzi began trailing him in ways he hadn't experienced since his Nickelodeon days. For a man who'd built his adult career on nuance and creative privacy, the sudden glare was disorienting. He had entered Billie's orbit, and with it, a gravitational force unlike any other. On Billie's side, the backlash grew even more complex. Critics called out the perceived double standard, that she once shamed the media for intruding on her love life, only to now weaponize intimacy for attention. Fans were divided, not because they doubted her feelings, but because they felt blindsided. Billie had built a brand on trust, on letting her audience feel like they knew the real her. Now, they questioned whether this unveiling was an honest evolution or a calculated reveal. Every move she made, every post, every lyric, was suddenly reinterpreted through the lens of this relationship. Even her silence was dissected. "She hasn't commented," one influencer noted, "and that says everything." At the heart of it all, two young artists found themselves navigating not just each other, but the aggressive machinery of modern fame. In any other world, a kiss would be just a kiss. But in this one, it was evidence, fuel, content. Billie and Nat were no longer just themselves. They were characters in a story being written in real time by millions of unseen hands. And whether they wanted it or not, the conflict had already been cast. Inevitably, the pressure reached a boiling point. Just 3 days after the kiss went viral, Billie Eilish appeared in public for the first time, alone. No Nat, no entourage, just Billie, walking briskly into a recording studio in downtown Los Angeles, her expression unreadable behind oversized sunglasses. The paparazzi mobbed her, hurling questions about the photo, about Nat, about whether they were official. She didn't say a word, but the silence only deepened the frenzy. Later that evening, Nat Wolff was spotted outside a cafe in Silver Lake, attempting to deflect questions with a brief no comment before ducking into a car. The media now treated them like fugitives from their own affection, hunted by lenses, chased by assumptions. Talk shows picked up the story, with segments like Billie's New Man, Real Love, or Strategic Romance, dissecting their every interaction. The frenzy reached a point where even Eilish's closest collaborators were being probed for answers, fueling a climate of paranoia around the couple's inner circle. Then came the leak. On June 14th, a blurry but damning video emerged on social media, Nat and Billie in what looked like a heated argument outside a private party in Malibu. No audio, no clear context. But Billie's hand gestures were sharp, her body language tense. Nat seemed defensive. The clip, only 15 seconds long, was enough to send the internet into a tailspin. Trouble already? Trended on Twitter. TikTok users lip-read imagined dialogue. Fans screamed betrayal. Others claimed it was staged. The rawness of that visual, two people trapped in a moment of unguarded emotion, cut through the curated filters of celebrity life. And just like that, the narrative shifted from love story to drama. What followed was even more chaotic. Billie unfollowed 2 major gossip accounts on Instagram. Nat temporarily deactivated his Twitter. A cryptic message appeared on Billie's story. A black screen with a white heart emoji. No words, no tags. The ambiguity was deafening. Overnight, gossip blogs declared the romance imploding. Fan pages began posting side-by-sides of happy photos versus the Malibu video. One viral post claimed, "This is why she keeps things private. They ruin everything." The noise became unbearable. Billie, once the architect of her own emotional universe, was now the unwilling protagonist in a digital soap opera. Her fans, divided, her privacy, decimated, and Nat, caught in the riptide of fame's darker edge, looked more like collateral than companion. And yet, it wasn't just the couple that suffered. The fallout exposed something deeper in the culture, an appetite for conflict, a need to watch beautiful things burn. The public, once rooting for Billie's happiness, now seemed addicted to the spectacle of its possible demise. Commentators debated whether the public's involvement had doomed the relationship from the start. Others wondered if Billie had misjudged how hungry the world had become to possess her life, not just her music. For a kiss that started in sunlight, the shadow it cast was long, cold, and suffocating. The love story that had captured hearts was now on the brink of collapse, and the cameras weren't done rolling. In the weeks that followed, Billie returned to the studio, reportedly working on an album inspired by the experience. Not just the love, but the invasion, the distortion, the ache of being known too much and understood too little. Meanwhile, Nat stepped back from the spotlight again, choosing not to ride the wave of attention. For both of them, it was a rebalancing, a return to art, to intention, to self. Ultimately, this wasn't a story about scandal. It was about how fragile something beautiful can become when held too tightly by the wrong hands. A kiss meant for two became the obsession of millions. And yet, through it all, Billie and Nat never gave the world what it truly wanted, a conclusion. They gave a glimpse, a moment, and then quietly stepped away. In a world addicted to overexposure, their final act was restraint. And in that restraint, they reminded everyone watching that real love, real pain, and real healing don't always unfold on camera. Sometimes they vanish, quietly, defiantly, back into the private spaces where they were born.